Is a week of nonstop snow and Arctic cold about to begin? Welcome to a wild start to the week. It's December 8th, and for many, the atmosphere is already kicking into high gear. Snow is falling right now, setting the stage for what looks to be a very active and festive week of weather. We're tracking multiple rounds of snow, but it's going to be a classic case of the rich get richer, with the same areas getting hit repeatedly. We'll break down who gets snow, how much, and take a deep dive into the next shot of Arctic air that's on the way. It's no surprise we're talking about snow because it is just plain cold out there. This morning, temperatures have plunged into the single digits across parts of the Midwest, including Wisconsin, Michigan, and Minnesota. That chill is even being felt in the interior Northeast. This has been the theme lately. Shots of cold air that start in the Midwest, barrel through the Great Lakes, smack the Northeast, and then slowly ooze their way southward. Get ready for more of the same this week. We've got the cold air locked in place and now the energy is arriving. A large dip in the jet stream, or a trough, is parked right over the eastern U.S. This is providing the perfect lift in the atmosphere to wring out moisture. And sure enough, that's creating a surprise snowstorm for some. Snow is currently falling across West Virginia, much of Virginia, and even down into the mountains of North Carolina. This is just the first of several systems we need to watch very closely over the coming days. Let's focus on this first winter storm, which is unfolding across the mid-Atlantic. Winter storm warnings are already in effect for parts of Virginia, where some of the heaviest snow is expected to fall. For the best chance of seeing significant accumulation, you really need to be north of Interstate 40. The sweet spot for this event looks to be in southern and central Virginia, where a solid 3 to 6 inches of snow is on the table before this system moves out, making for a major travel headache. Let's time this out. Through the morning, it's mostly rain south of I-40, with a messy mix of rain, snow, and sleet right along that line. But north of there, it's a different story. The snow is trying to change over in places like Winston-Salem, but for most of Virginia, this is going to be an all-snow event. As we go through the day, that cold air will continue to pour in, wrapping around a developing coastal low-pressure system and turning what was rain into a burst of moderate, wet snow. This changeover will bring a surprise blanket of white to the Raleigh metro, especially for areas to the east and north of the city. Places up toward Virginia Beach and the Chesapeake will also get in on the action, seeing a nice thump of accumulating snow this afternoon and evening. This is a classic setup where some areas that start as rain could get a sneaky accumulation on the back end of the storm, so don't be surprised if the roads get slick much faster than you're anticipating. By this evening, around 7 p.m., it will still be snowing across northeastern North Carolina and southeastern Virginia. This is a corridor I'd watch closely for some surprise higher totals than what is currently being forecast. After that, the storm will begin to wind down, fizzling out into scattered flurries overnight. By the time you wake up tomorrow morning, the storm itself will be long gone, but the hazards will definitely not be over. This is when the real danger of a flash freeze will set in. Now, in terms of snowfall totals, the highest amounts will be in the mountains of North Carolina and across central Virginia. Places like Roanoke and Richmond could easily see 3 to 5 inches, with even higher amounts in the mountains. The area from Raleigh to Greenville and Virginia Beach is where totals could end up higher than expected if that burst of snow is intense enough. South of I-40, it's mainly just white rain, but for many, this will be a legitimate, disruptive winter weather event. With the first storm exiting, what's next on the agenda? Get ready for more clippers. The northern branch of the jet stream has been incredibly active lately, and it's about to send a series of fast-moving storms known as Alberta clippers, diving into the U.S. As our mid-Atlantic system dies out tonight. A new wave of energy will trigger a burst of snow across Minnesota, from Minneapolis northward. This snow will then race eastward into Wisconsin and Michigan by Tuesday morning. That's just the opening act. On Tuesday evening, an even stronger and more potent clipper system will arrive, targeting many of the same areas. This is that rich get richer pattern in full effect. This storm could be just warm enough to bring some rain into the mix for Minneapolis, creating a slushy mess. But just to the north, across northern Minnesota and Wisconsin, this one will be a full-blown snow producer, likely bringing heavy, blowing snow and creating near blizzard conditions. This second clipper is a powerhouse. While it will be brief, it's going to pack a serious punch. It will race across Wisconsin and Michigan through the day Wednesday, with a warmer southern side and a bitterly cold, snowy northern side. This storm will then continue eastward, bringing a nice blanket of interior northeast snow by Wednesday evening. Unfortunately for snow lovers along the I-95 corridor, this will likely be an all-rain event as the track will be too far to the north. So how much snow are we talking about from these two clippers? The big winners will be in the northern plains and the upper Midwest. Through Thursday afternoon, it's entirely possible we could see widespread totals of a half a foot to a full foot of snow across northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, and northeastern North Dakota. Minneapolis will be too far south for the heaviest amounts but could still pick up a couple of inches. The upper peninsula of Michigan is also in for some very hefty totals. Now, let's talk about the next dose of Arctic air. A huge pocket of incredibly cold air is set to dive into the country later this week. Its track has shifted a bit, now looking to center itself right over the northeastern United States. This guarantees that it's going to get brutally cold, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee a big snowstorm for the coast. The reason is that our weather pattern is very transient, meaning these systems are moving through very quickly without any traffic jams. To get a big East Coast snowstorm, we typically need a strong blocking pattern of high pressure up near Greenland, which acts like a stop sign and forces storms to slow down and intensify. We just don't have that right now. Instead, we have these fast-moving waves of energy and cold air. So, while it's been a very active pattern for clippers, we are still struggling to get the right ingredients together for a major nor'easter, and that trend looks to continue for now. But the cold is a sure thing. Temperatures are already well below average for almost everyone east of the Rocky Mountains. We'll see a very brief and slight warm-up midweek, but don't get used to it. The next shot of truly Arctic air arrives right behind it, sending temperatures another 10 to 25 degrees below average. That cold will then be reinforced by an even colder blast this coming weekend, creating some of the most frigid conditions we've seen so far this season for millions. Just how cold could it get? Let's look at the morning lows for this coming Sunday. The heart of the Arctic air will be sitting right over the upper Midwest. We're talking about temperatures in Fargo potentially dropping to 15 degrees below zero. That's the actual air temperature, not the wind chill. The core of this Arctic outbreak will be focused on the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast, where the combination of brutal cold and gusty winds will create dangerous, life-threatening conditions. So the final question is, will this Arctic blast bring more snow with it? There are signs of another clipper system diving south with that cold air on Friday and into Saturday. This one has the potential to track a bit farther south, bringing a band of snow through places like Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and maybe even as far as Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. It will try to bring some flakes to Philadelphia, but right now it looks like it will struggle to maintain its strength all the way to the coast. As it stands, the highest probability of seeing an inch or more of snow this coming weekend will be from that clipper system moving through the Midwest, and from lake-effect snow downwind of the Great Lakes. The chances of a significant storm along the I-95 corridor remain low, likely in the 20 to 30% range. Some models try to make it happen, but they are in the minority for now. The pattern just isn't favorable for a coastal storm at this time, though things can always change. Looking even further ahead, there are signals that we might finally get a bit of a break in this relentless pattern next week. A brief warm-up looks likely, but the big question is how long it will last. To really increase the chances for major East Coast snow, we need that blocking pattern to set up. Until that happens, this trend of fast-moving clippers and shots of Arctic air will likely continue. For now, get ready for a very cold and, for many, a very snowy week ahead. So to wrap it all up, we have an active week on tap. A sneaky snowstorm is impacting the mid-Atlantic today, followed by a 1-2 punch of powerful clippers for the upper Midwest. Then, a truly bitter Arctic blast arrives for the weekend, bringing the coldest air of the season. If you are getting snow, be safe on the roads, and no matter where you are, prepare for a significant drop in temperatures. It's a good time to make sure your winter gear is ready to go, because you are going to need it.